world? Take these glasses off so I can see. In case anybody pop into the live chat, not really the goal, but definitely got to get into some bite down boxing talk with some afterthoughts on Canelo Alvarez. Also some comments from Triple G that really didn't really garner a lot of attention or create a lot of flack for Gennadiy Golovkin when he talked about killing a man in the ring. I know before, Deontay Wilder made these statements, and I know I was critical. And it's not that I was really trying to let the Gennadiy Golovkin statement go by, as much as I didn't really think in a lot of circles Gennadiy Golovkin was really all that important. He was really all that relevant, that we should have been in an uproar. Also with Gennadiy Golovkin's statements. What up, bro? What's good, Ron Finkley? Just on here running my mouth, man. Just running my mouth. About to get into some Canelo stuff. But I didn't really take Triple G to task a whole lot because English is not his first language. I didn't hear Triple G make his statements to anybody to get the context of when, where he said it. You're right. Thank you. So yeah, I didn't get the context of what he said. And another thing with Triple G, he was speaking directly to Oscar De La Hoya. And the fact that De La Hoya came out and said that Triple G would be an easy comeback fight for him. So that's that. Before I get into the boxing, though, let me I did have a couple of entertainment topics. Next year I'm gonna do better in boxing and music. I'm gonna try to figure out a way to keep some notes throughout the year so that I can do some end of the year lists. Especially like my top 10 albums of the year, my top 10 MCs of the year, or top 5 MCs of the year. All of that stuff is very important in the content game. And me, as one person trying to cover so much stuff, it's hard for me to get to the end of the year and be able to really catalog any of that or rank any of that and do a thorough job of it. So, and basically what I'm telling you is anything I talk about in music is basically the hottest stuff that I came across that year, because I really don't do much on the stuff that I don't like or didn't really care for. But anyway, there's this B dot list out there of the hottest MCs. I saw the Joe Budden podcast get into some discussions on it. The people who were snubbed from it, like a Ransom. And then there was also, at the same time, Jay-Z came out and put out his list of his favorite songs of 2020. And obviously, with it being Jay-Z, that's gonna create, it's interesting to note, the one thing that I see in terms of comparing my interests or my taste in music to Jay-Z, even he's about 4 or 5 years older than me. Jay-Z kind of likes stuff that can sell. Even though we know what he did in his first 2 or 3 records, 2 or 3 albums, he's at a stage now where he listens. He seems to like a lot of stuff that would make it onto radio. The one interesting person that he had on his list, and a producer that I rock with that I really like, might have did the beat, but I'm not that familiar with the artist. And the song, when I went back, after I saw the list and I went and checked out the song, I really wasn't all that taken aback by the song, to be honest. But it's an artist called Mock Hami. Squeaky Hinge is the name of the record. I thought it was okay. Maybe I got to listen to it a couple of more times. I do think it's a producer that did the beat that I like, but the song was, first listen, it was just kind of okay to me. Couple of Griselda titles were on there. Who else? Freddie Gibbs was on there. By Griselda, I mean Westside Gunn had a song or two. Conway had a song or two, and then Benny the Butcher had a song or two. Nas had 2 songs on there. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, Nas had a couple of songs on Jay-Z's list. Meg Thee Stallion, the remix with Beyonce was on there. Which, again, it's interesting to hear what Jay-Z is, what he's co-signing. Because you know what a Jay-Z co-sign can do for you. Who else was on there? Jay Electronica was on there, obviously. A couple of songs that I believe Jay-Z appeared on. So, you know, a bit of conflict of interest there. Somebody else that was on there that was, Lil Baby was on there a couple of times. For both of these lists, though, for the B-Dot list of rappers, and then Jay-Z's list of his favorite. Jay-Z had a record on there from Jasmine Sullivan. Gotcha. Jay-Z had he had a song on there, a record on there from Jasmine Sullivan called Lost Ones that I thought was very interesting because it's just straightforward, like traditional R&B. So I thought it was dope. And I like that song. I like Jasmine Sullivan. So it was dope to have her on there. But what I was getting ready to say before I move on to this boxing is it's interesting that B. Dot, who I guess works for MTV and is in a very influential place, you know, in terms of saying what's hot and what's not in hip-hop. B. Dot's list of top MCs and Jay-Z's list of songs, it just disregarded a lot of a lot of the media, and I don't want to say conscious rappers, but a lot of the older rappers who put out some great music in the past 12 months. Royce the 5'9", I don't believe was mentioned in by either one of those people. Black Thought was not mentioned on either one of those. Interestingly, the stuff that was on there from Nas, on my favorite joints on Nas's album, Jay-Z didn't even mention those. So I thought that was interesting. Except the Car 85. Car 85 was alright. But Shade Noir was not mentioned by either one. I don't believe, definitely not the Jay-Z list. So it's just interesting what Jay-Z sees and what he doesn't see. And like I said, I know it's some people, I don't see that happening. I don't see Jay-Z doing anything. He's not exposing himself like that. But I'm just saying, there's a lot of artists that would like that push, that would like that cosign, that I thought Jay-Z ignored or isn't aware of or just isn't a fan of. And I wonder, if you're a New York rapper that's really making a lot of noise and Jay-Z did not mention you. I just wonder, do you take it like, I'm just gonna work harder, I just gotta be better? Or is it like, F that cat? How do they respond? But anyway, I'll get into that later on because I put the title up as some boxing. So I was talking about the Triple G situation. He said that if he had the opportunity to legally kill a man, he said he would probably seize that if he was going to fight Oscar De La Hoya. And he said that his style or his ability, everything about Gennadiy Golovkin would be a nightmare for Oscar De La Hoya. And so, some people came out and was like, well, y'all came for Deontay Wilder when he made his statements, but nobody really cared or seems to care about what Triple G has said, and regarding taking a life in the ring. And like I said, I didn't hear Triple G's. I didn't hear the audio on it. I don't know where he said it. Deontay Wilder said this on in the middle of the afternoon on First Take. Exactly. I agree with you. Finkley. But Deontay Wilder said this on one of the biggest stages on TV to Stephen A. Smith on First Take, and doubled down on it. You know, even when Stephen A. asked for some, not necessarily. I don't think so. The Friday night thing. I think with Triple G, with it just being, because I saw some people complaining about that or looking at that, and I respect your opinion, but I think if you look at it from the perspective of, one, that fight was like 6 or 7 months late, you know, and they were trying to get the dude in before the end of the year because they want to try to set up the schedule in case Canelo would agree to fight the man. So they go on and sneak the fight in. They know it's a bad fight going into it because nobody knows who Zarameta is. They wanted to have the fight in Chicago where there's a big Polish population. They couldn't have it up there because of the pandemic. You got this bad fight. But that's what I'm talking about. You got this bad fight against somebody that nobody wants you to see. And you get to the end of the year and it pops up on a Friday night. You can see that they didn't even have the regular. True. But you can see that DAZN didn't even have the regular DAZN people down there at the Triple G fight. It was kind of tucked away intentionally. Like, we know this isn't a good fight. You know, we don't even have a good undercard for it. It was a trash card. I get it. So why would you have gone through? And then if you also look, leading up to this, they had 5 weeks of Saturday boxing with all the UK stuff. It just became a scheduling issue. That's all. It just became a scheduling issue. And then once Canelo agreed to, once they knew that fight was coming together, you weren't going to put them on the same day. So to kind of put them, and you couldn't, because of where the holiday falls. I'm getting ready to get to that. So anyway, finish it up on Triple G. I didn't really take the comments too much because I don't really think that Triple G is all that relevant. And Triple G was talking about one individual who made kind of a reckless and kind of disrespectful statement to him and called him out, that a dude who's been out of boxing for 12 years basically came out and said he was easy work. And so Triple G just responded to that. Now, I don't really like that death talk and that killing talk in the game. So yeah, I'm not a fan of that. But his situation and Deontay Wilder's situation were a little bit different in my opinion. And that's what I'm getting ready to get to. So let me jump on that. I'm bugging out yesterday because I'm listening to the Ak and Barak show on Sirius XM at noon. I think they come on noon to 2. And both of them, you know, they're fans of Canelo Alvarez. And they had nothing but glowing things to say about Canelo's fight. Canelo's the face of boxing. Canelo is the #1 pound-for-pound fighter. Canelo's taking all the risks in boxing. Canelo's going up. He's fighting light heavyweights. He's fighting super middleweights. He did this. He destroyed Callum Smith. He did this. He did that. They question nothing. They question nothing altogether about the man. And it's cool. I mean, I will agree that Canelo is what he is. You know, he's a professional. Always gonna show up ready to fight. He's going out making different types of events, or trying to make big time events and trying to create challenges for himself. But whatever. So So then they get to and what I was saying was, you know, a lot of these guys on a lot of the big outlets, the magazine guys, the Monday and Friday night guys on Sirius XM, they love Canelo too. So no one sits here and says anything negative whatsoever about Canelo. Nobody talks about the rehydration clauses. Nobody talks about the PED history. Nobody talks about you know, catching cats on these short camps, these short training camps. Nobody says anything about none of that. And then you as the public, you sitting here watching some of this stuff and you hear some of this stuff and you're paying attention. But most of these hosts are like, nah, you can't question or say anything about Canelo. And I'm just sitting here like, you know, how does that work? But anyway, they get to talking about later in the episode yesterday and yesterday's show, they get to talking about Demetrius Andrade. Exactly. But now nobody's supposed. Like I said, I will watch a Canelo fight, and I can see the man's skill, and I see the steadily improvement. I see his commitment and dedication to the game. I see all of that, but that doesn't mean that I didn't see the other stuff that I saw. The Lara fight, the decision in that. If you know, you know. But they get to talking about Boo Boo Andrade, and Ak Reyes really goes in on Demetrius Andrade and says that while he was on the show Saturday night, that Andrade was disrespectful. How could he talk about a guy that's doing so much and lifting up the profile of boxing and saving boxing, making boxing relevant, carrying boxing? How can you sit there and say anything negative or question Canelo Alvarez in any way? And I'm sitting here like, well, you know, hold on, bro. Hold on. Demetrius Andrade is asked to be an analyst, just an analyst who's an active fighter. He has a title in the division that Canelo holds a title in still, the WBA. Exactly, the WBA middleweight title. So how is the expectation here that Demetrius Andrade is supposed to come on here and put himself out there and join in on the love fest with Canelo when he was around Canelo at 154? Was never in the discussion for a fight. Whether it was wrong or right. He's around Canelo for 2 or 3 years. Never deserves a fight, never deserving of a fight. Okay. He goes up to middleweight because he couldn't get the right fights there. He couldn't get a Canelo fight at middleweight. He goes up to middleweight. I don't know if he beat Canelo there or Canelo was at 155 or whatever the hell it was. But again, he's in the same sandbox as Canelo for at least 2 years, and he still can't get a fight. And can't even get in a discussion for a fight. There's no media clamor, or there's no expectations. There's nothing for him to face this man. So now you put a microphone in his hand, and the expectation is that he tell you that Canelo is great. Bro, I'm trying to feed my family. I'm trying to have a meaningful fight in my career. I'm trying to have big names on my resume. I want to fight the best. I want to challenge myself. How the hell am I supposed to sit here and the man that y'all talk about is the man? I can't even get him to say my name or mention me. So for Ak and Barack to come out here and call this brother out on their show, how can you call this man out because he's not in love with Canelo the way that you are? He said the man was pound for pound. He said the man was good, he's highly skilled and this and that. But damn, at the same time, all he can do is stand by his guard and advocate for himself and what his skill level is and what he's about and who he is. So who would sit there and do that? Like maybe the zone should have flown Ak and Barack down there so they could have had 2 more people sitting there gushing over Canelo Alvarez. But if I'm Demetrius Andrade, I'm gonna tell you what happened in the fight. I'm gonna tell you how good he looks, and I'm gonna tell you that the man won't give me a shot, and I'm done with it. I did my job. They wanted him to praise him, right? So I just don't understand where we are in boxing right now. They can't nobody. All of a sudden, we got all this. It's a game full of being respectful. But then when you're respectful, then they want to come out and say that you're too quiet and nobody needs to fight you, or you haven't done enough to raise your profile. Another thing that they pissed me off with, when Ak and Barack started to justify that Demetrius Andrade didn't deserve a shot. They try to say that Demetrius Andrade hasn't taken any risks, that he hasn't gone up to 168, that he hasn't gone up to lightweight. Well, I mean, there's a logical reason why he hasn't, and why a lot of fighters just aren't jumping around, jumping weight divisions. I said this before. Canelo Alvarez can go out here and look out on the weight in the weight divisions and look at the champions, and he can size these guys up and strategically decide, I'm gonna fight person X, because he knows when he goes to show up on fight night, he knows he can be very motivated because he's getting $25 million to do it. Who the hell wouldn't go out there and try to challenge the best and do the unimaginable? Who wouldn't do that if you knew that you was getting paid like that? If Demetrius Andrade went out there and tried to make any of those fights, he'd still be looking at the same bag. 1.5, 1 million, 1.7 million. The other thing is this. Not only can Canelo command the purse, his guarantee to go take that kind of risk, he can also pay the guys to fight him. He can also offer them money that they can't reject, that they can't say no. We already know that that Jacobs got overpaid. Exactly. For 5 years, the man been looking for a meaningful fight. Ak and Barack didn't say anything about Triple G, who they spoke very kindly about too. They didn't say anything about Triple G not fighting Demetrius Andrade. How does somebody have a title in your division, in the same division as any fighter? How is there a title holder, and now it makes no sense to fight that man or give that man any consideration for a fight? When the hell is a unification worthless? But we already know that Danny Jacobs got way too much money to fight Canelo Alvarez. Who's the other cat? Oh, we know that they paid Kovalev great money in main events. We know that they paid them great money to fight him. If one of these other brothers was gonna go out here and try to make one of these meaningful fights and take a challenge and a huge challenge and a major risk, they don't even get the money to go out there and pay the opponent to do it. So to sit here and talk about what Demetrius Andrade, he's doing what he can do, okay? When he was over on the other side of the street, before he moved over to the zone and Matchroom and Eddie Hearn, he was kind of the odd man out. He did what he could do over there. He was, like you said, I talked to the man at Barclays. I got a video somewhere on the playlist. It's a couple years ago now. He was complaining and crying. His manager was in the back talking about they won't fight Boo Boo or something, blah, blah, blah. It's been the same story for the dude for 4 years. Yeah, I think Ward, I think his knees, I think he has like a knee injury that he was actually going to court for. He actually had a lawsuit, I think, against an insurance company or something that he was in the middle of last year. And, I think he was trying to get a couple $1 million out of it or something. So once I saw that, You know, you can't go out here and train for a professional fight. Because part of his lawsuit was something about like years of wear and tear on his knee, you know, kept him from earning money. And, you know, if he could have fought, he had the opportunity to win like $6 or $7 million. And because of this knee situation, he couldn't earn none of that. So that was kind of the basis of his lawsuit. So I don't see him coming back no more. Unless that lawsuit gets, I mean, even if he won the lawsuit, how did you turn around, you know, 6 months later and then you just won money because of your knee injury, but now you just went through a training camp using your knee and fighting using your knee? I don't know if I don't know if there's any chance of him coming back. But I just, you know, to wrap this up, because I'm getting ready to pull into my gig, I just don't understand how these cats on the radio and on the bigger platforms and the bigger outlets, why don't they talk about this stuff in a well-balanced manner? I mean, if you want to say that Demetrius Andrade was a terrible analyst, you know, he didn't look that great, he didn't look comfortable, or he, you know, if you can point out and make examples that, no doubt, if you want to make examples that the man didn't, you know, that he didn't do his job, you know, I get that. But to sit here and tell the man that while he has a microphone in his hand, that he can't be his own advocate for his own future and what he's trying to get accomplished, that's bullshit. And if you thought that he was gonna be disrespectful because Demetrius Andrade came out and said that that Canelo was managed in a certain way, he fought guys at certain periods, he fought guys with shortened training camps. If he says all of this, like, how are we just to ignore a dude that's talking about issues in his workplace? Like, that's his job. You think that Demetrius Andrade doesn't know what's going on in his own business, that he can't speak on it? Like, that's crazy to me. I mean, he didn't go out there. I don't think Demetrius said anything about the whole PED situation, you know, which could have been looked at as bringing up slinging mud or something like that, or, you know, diminishing the moment, taking away from Canelo's moment. I don't even think Demetrius was too critical of Callum Smith. You know, I think going into it, I thought he said some fair stuff. Hey, this dude, they say he's the best dude. He got a belt or two. He's here. You know, he went through the World Boxing Super Series. He's got this height advantage. He said what we needed to hear. And then when he saw that the dude didn't have a lot of skill, he was like, hey, man, the dude is he's a little methodical. You know, he's telegraphing his punches. You know, he's not doing this. He's falling far behind. He said all the right stuff. Then at the end of the night, when I got to talk my stuff and speak highly of myself, I'm going to take advantage of the situation and tell y'all why I deserve a fight. I'm trying to feed my family. I've been with the man at 154. I was around the man at 160. I'm holding titles. Why can't I get a call? I'm with the zone. Why you won't fight me? I mean, hell, if he don't say it, Akin Baraka ain't gonna say it. Eddie Hearn probably not gonna say it. Canelo's not going now. So who else was gonna speak on the man's behalf? Well, anyway, I gotta go get these people what they want. Have a great day. No boxing, what, for the next 2 weeks? So enjoy yourself, get back to your thing, you know, enjoy the holidays, enjoy your time with the family this week. Thanks for all the support. You know, we're gonna take some time off from the boxing thing on here for the next couple of weeks and try to regroup and come back, you know, in 2021. Fights right on the other side of the you know, on the other side of the break and everything, so it should be interesting. Let me get on out of here, man. Bite down boxing, don't let them count you out. Thanks for checking in and doing the share, Ron Finkley, man. You know, enjoy the holidays, man, and take care. And you know, I always respect your interest in the game and and contributing to the show and whatnot. So let me get on off of here. Pay me no mind, sports and entertainment. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. One.